That's to me wholly unconstitutional.
I just wanted to see what it was like on the other side.
There's a very close correlation between mathematical thinking and music theory. So California took it upon itself, and it's funny because I had not seen this until it popped up as a signed law, and usually I track all this stuff. It's called SB-53, Senate Bill 53. It was signed by Governor Newsom this week, and it tries to attempt to regulate a lot of the AI models out there. It places a lot of reporting requirements on them. But the issue is, if you dive a little bit deeper into the law, there are lines in there that the frontier model providers should follow, quote unquote, international law. Now, I find that incredibly troublesome. We are not following international law, nor should we follow international law. So basically, the implications are that if you're OpenAI or Anthropic or Microsoft, that you should be following the EU-AI Act, the GDPR, and all these other laws that are out there, which we know is not constitutional. But there are other issues with the law, deep reporting requirements, putting the burden is placed on the model providers to prove things. So somebody can say, hey, look, they're doing something bad, or I don't agree with what's happening in OpenAI's model. Now the burden of proof is now placed on OpenAI to defend themselves. And anybody can say anything. Anybody can call up the hotline and say, hey, I have a problem, and this is why. And now that they have to deal with it. There are issues around intellectual property and redacting the documents and maintaining documents that are redacted, all these other issues that are deeply concerning. It was a litany of things. It was a list of just issues and things that they have to file, very contradictory. But at the end of the day, it is going to effectively, I would think, well, either they're going to leave California, a lot of these providers are not going to develop in California, or it's going to be very costly for all of them to adhere to any of these things.
It's a good point, because if you look at the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, that obviously applies to California. It applies to businesses that, do business in California and have Californian citizens as customers. But that's such a big part of the economy that CCPA is almost treated as if it was a national law in practical terms, right? Companies, right. So many companies have to comply with CCPA that they just adopt CCPA compliance as like the benchmark.
Right, because California's such a big economy.
Right. So if that happens with a similar pattern with this law, it becomes sort of a unofficial de facto national regulation in a way.
Now, I know most of, and this is funny actually, the model providers, the frontier model providers are all on the side of just, laissez-faire, capitalism reign, let them do what they got to do, not imposing government restrictions on them. Anthropic tends to take a different angle on this, and they like this, and they've been getting up in front of this for quite a while and saying that, we like regulation. In fact, they actually were part of the process of generating this regulation. They were deeply involved in it, which I find troublesome. I am not a fan of companies getting in the weeds with the government to develop products. Never have been. I think it's always a bad thing. I don't understand why. I mean, I understand why. They want to build a moat around themselves because they've kind of set themselves up as a safe model provider. And it's not that some of these things weren't already being done. They were, but this goes far, far, far deeper. And I have a deep issue with companies or the government stepping in and saying we need to follow international law, which again, that's to me wholly unconstitutional. And why you would even put that in the bill is just beyond me. Why do you want to strangle American ingenuity so much is just ridiculous. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to us over on YouTube. And make sure to stay up to date with us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well.